In this unit, we will see typology of crimes. Typology of crimes refers to classified analysis of various types of crimes. Such an analysis becomes essential from the point of view of investigation, prosecution, conviction, and correctional administration. Crime typology is also important for crime prevention strategies. The objectives of this unit are to explain what crime typology means, to explain the significance of crime typology, to explain various types of crimes under broad classifications, to explain the classifications of crimes in the Indian Penal Code. Typology means study of various types of a phenomenon such as population, various crops cultivated in an area, different categories of employees of an organization, etc. Typology, in fact, is an essential requirement of research. In the field of criminology, typology means an analysis of various types of crimes. This implies that typology of crimes provides the basis for the entire domain of criminology, which includes crime investigation, prosecution, and conviction. And correctional administration and crime prevention will also fall under the purview of crime typology. This will include typology of criminals also. Although every crime has its own peculiarities with reference to place, time, victim or object or the criminal, it is possible to classify various crimes into different groups such as property crimes, murder, crime against women and children, computer related crimes, etc. Such a broad classification helps the investigating officer to make a good beginning of investigation. The starting point of investigation for many crimes such as a murder or homicide or robbery or burglary is a crime scene investigation. Even at the starting point, an investigating officer has to make it sure what type of crime he or she is going to investigate. The investigating officer has to guard himself against alibi, which may be created by the criminal to divert the attention of the investigating officer. For example, a murder could be shown as a suicide by hanging the dead body from a tree or some other objects. There are cases in which some bank employees, after swindling the bank money, have created an alibi as if they were robbed of the money. In such cases, the investigating officer has to examine the case very carefully to fix the type of crime. Not only at the starting point, but also the process of investigation is very much determined by the type of crime. And the type of crime also includes the modus operandi or MO of the crime. Significance of crime typology for prosecution. Prosecution is the most important stage of the criminal justice system. Once the investigating officer completes the investigation according to the criminal procedure of the state, then the case is presented in the court by the investigating officer. All the evidences and the final report along with the charge sheet need to be produced in the criminal court concerned. The public prosecutor then takes charge of the case and puts forth his arguments, which may be countered by the defense counsel. Generally, the entire process of the criminal justice system depends on the type of crime, how it was executed, and how it was investigated. Moreover, the investigating officer and the public prosecutor have another great responsibility with regard to the type of crime and the relevant sections of the Indian Penal Code. This implies that the type of crime needs to be pinpointed so that the trials and prosecution in the court can proceed on the right track. Any controversy over the type of crime can mislead the legal process. Cross-examination refers to the witnesses being questioned by the public prosecutor and the defense lawyer. All the questions raised during the cross-examination must have a bearing on the type of crime under trial. If only the public prosecutor is strong in this regard, that is, the category, type, and the relevant sections of the IPC, the counter arguments of the defense counsel may be nullified. This implies that all the proceedings of the criminal justice system must converge towards the type of crime under investigation. Conviction is at the tail end of the criminal justice system. Conviction of a case reflects the quality and the fairness of the entire criminal justice system of a state. Every country has its own criminal justice system and criminal laws. The Indian criminal justice system is based on the Indian Penal Code, which was introduced in 1861 during the British rule. The Penal Code of a country identifies most of the crimes occurred as on the date of drafting the code. However, new types of crimes may also find a place in the criminal code through appropriate additions to the code. Every type of crime or every category of crime falls under a section code. Here are some examples. Murder falls under section 302 of the IPC, that is Indian Penal Code, and invites death or life term and fine. Attempt to murder falls under section 307 of the Indian Penal Code and invites 10-year jail and fine. Dowry death falls under section 304B and invites 7 years jail, which may be extended to life imprisonment. Kidnapping or abducting in order to murder falls under section 364 of the Indian Penal Code and invites life term or 10 years of rigorous imprisonment and fine. Thus, all the crimes except the modern high-tech crimes and their punishments are precisely defined by the Indian Penal Code. Correctional administration does not form part of the criminal justice system directly, but it forms part of the policy of crime prevention. Correctional administration is concerned with the typology of criminals, which again is based on crime typology. As such, we have the following classification of criminals and other jail inmates. They are first offender, who is new to criminal life; habitual offender, who is a professional criminal; dossier criminal, who is inactive as a criminal due to aging or disease; juvenile offender, who is below the age of 18 and who commits crimes falling under the IPC section; known depredator, who is notoriously known for his misdeeds; political prisoners. Occasionally, women also come under one of these categories. From correctional administration point of view, it is generally believed that the first offenders, whatever be their criminal background, are amenable to correctional measures. The habitual offenders, on the other hand, are not easily amenable. Studies have also proved that non-violent first offenders are amenable, while violent first offenders are not easily amenable. It is further believed that emotional offenders are amenable, while professional or habitual offenders are not. Thus, the focus of correctional administration is more on typology of criminals than on typology of crimes. Moreover, the prison staff need to maintain an order inside the prison by accommodating different categories of inmates according to their criminal background. They cannot simply put all the inmates together in the limited space available within the four walls. For example, the extremists and terrorists are to be accommodated in separate cells. Similarly, violent inmates have to be accommodated away from non-violent inmates. In the prisons, the inmates are classified on the basis of their sentence in the background of their respective criminal record. Crime typology has its own significance for socio-economic policy measures. Some questions are relevant from socio-economic point of view. They are: what are the types of crimes prevailing in the country? What are the crimes which surface more than others? How does crime pattern change over a period of time? What kinds of people are committing more crimes than others? In which area of the country there are more criminals? Are there more juveniles and juvenile offenders in the society? Are the crimes increasing, constant or decreasing? If increasing, what kinds of crimes are increasing? Are the violent crimes on the increase? Is the percentage of women criminals on the increase? Are the family related crimes increasing in the country? These and many more questions could be raised from socio-economic perspectives. The answers for these questions relate very much to the typology of crimes and criminals. For example, generally, property crimes like dacoity, robbery, burglary, theft, etc. are said to have their root causes in poverty and unemployment. And property crimes are generally further boosted by the unequal income distribution or vast gap between the rich and the poor. Along with poverty and unemployment, lack of adequate educational opportunities and broken homes are behind increasing trend in juveniles and juvenile crimes. Thus, typology of crimes and criminals have a great bearing on socio-economic development of a country. The changing lifestyle of the modern social structure is undermining the family structure. This in turn leads to intolerance within the family. As a result, family related crimes are also surfacing in increasing number. The Hindu reported on 9/6/2012 a case in which the wife and her son set ablaze her husband, who used to beat his wife and his son in a drunken mood almost every day. As the economic development of the nation gained momentum, the nation has been witnessing high-tech crimes related to computers and high-profile economic crime such as corruption involving high-level politicians and administrators. The Indian Penal Code, brought into force in 1861 during the period of the British rule in India, has given manifold classification of crimes on the basis of the British Penal Code. There are many introductory chapters relating to general explanations, definition of concepts, types of punishments awarded by various courts, exemption from punishments, provisions for offences committed in self-defense, etc. Indian Penal Code section 53 of chapter 3 prescribes the following types of punishments awarded for various offences. They are: capital punishment, that is death by hanging, which is awarded for the rarest of rare crime such as a cruel and well planned murder. But throughout the world there is a movement against capital punishment. In European countries, capital punishment had been totally abolished. In India, it is legally in practice in the sense that courts may award capital punishment, but it is held in abeyance indefinitely, or it is reverted to life imprisonment by the President of India on appeal by the accused. Next comes the life imprisonment. Life imprisonment is awarded almost in lieu of capital punishment. Although life imprisonment legally means imprisonment for life, the convict, depending on his behavior in the prison and in cognizance of the birth anniversaries of some great leaders, remissions are allowed in the punishment. With the effect, in practice, the life imprisonment means imprisonment for 14 years or less. Then comes two types of imprisonment. They are simple imprisonment, which means imprisonment without hard labor in the prison, and rigorous imprisonment, which means imprisonment with hard labor. These depend on the type of crime committed by the accused. Confiscation of the properties of the accused is next in order. This is carried out In the case of an accused who has misappropriated public funds or government funds and used them to purchase some assets, if one has caused the destruction of the assets or properties of somebody, then the assets of the former will be used for compensating for the loss incurred by the latter. Lastly, there is the punishment or fine, which is the simplest of the punishments. However, generally fine is combined with imprisonment. During the British period, the criminals and the political agitators were banished from the country to the tubular prison in the islands of Andamans. Once sent to this prison, people generally never returned. They simply died of aging or disease, or sometimes the protesting inmates were shot dead by the British jailers. After independence in 1947, the Indian government abolished this kind of punishment. Now, the Andaman prisons have become a tourist spot and still bears the remnants of the past. The five types of punishments cover almost all types of crimes, many of which you are going to understand now. In the Indian Penal Code, we see a very broad classification of crimes. The Indian Penal Code sections extend up to 511. Of these, the first 106 sections are related to introduction, definition of concepts, exemptions, provisions for self-defense, etc. The rest are related to different types of crimes and their punishments. Important Indian Penal Code classifications of crime are given here for your reference. They are offences against the government and government servants while on duty, offences against the armed forces, offences against the law and order, election related offences, currency and coins related offences, offences relating to weights and measures, offences relating to public health and social discipline, offences against a religion, offences against person or body leading to murder, offences relating to children, abduction of individuals and their illegal confinement, abduction and bonded labor, sex related offences, offences relating to property, cheatings and frauds, matrimony related offences. These are the major classifications given by the IPC, that is Indian Penal Code. There are also a few more classifications of crime. However, the IPC, in spite of the amendments made during the past 5 decades, does not include crimes relating to drugs and medicines, high-tech crimes and organized crimes, terrorism, etc. Many such crimes are covered under the local laws and special laws passed by the state governments and the central government. You must understand that the IPC is applicable to the entire nation uniformly, while the local and special laws are implemented by the states with some differences. Besides the classifications given earlier, we have many more types of crimes such as crime against downtrodden people, cross-border or transnational crimes, cyber crimes, corporate crimes, bank-related crimes, ATM-related crimes, money-related crimes and money laundering, job-related crimes, serial killers and psychopaths, tourism and travel-related crimes, copycat crime, which means imitating the crime scene in the films, TV channels or read in the novels, hate crime, which means the crime committed out of hatred, identity related crime, which refers to impersonation for committing a crime, political crime such as political murders, economic crime and white collar crime, environmental crime and forest related crime. You may understand from what I said so far that almost every aspect of life witnesses its own crime. Even within one group such as property crimes, every crime is a kind of its own by its modus operandi and therefore has its own significance from the point of view of investigation, prosecution, conviction, or correctional administration. Now, to summarize, in this unit, I have explained to you what crime typology means and the significance of crime typology for investigation, prosecution, and conviction. It is also significant for correctional administration and socio-economic policy measures. With the changing face of the society, every section or every activity of the society witnesses crimes of some kind or other. Available crime statistics show that crimes are only increasing over a period of time. It all the more implies the internal security management system needs to be strengthened to safeguard the law-abiding citizens from criminals and antisocials.